Ready? 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Hi everyone. It is 3:03 p.m. and I'm calling this meeting of the Wakefield Youth Council to order. I'm going to start with attendance. Yana.
Here.
Ali.
Here.
Thomas.
Here.
Nick. Not here. Paige. Josh. Sophie.
Here.
Ellie. Jenna.
Here.
Nick. Tegan. Madeline.
Here.
Charlotte. Paige. Matt. Bella. Juliana.
Here.
Megan. and Marie.
Here.
Awesome. I'm so glad that we can finally do a hybrid meeting. It's very exciting. Thank you to WCAP for having us, making this possible. So now it's public comment. Nobody is here from the public in studio, and I'm not seeing anybody on the Zoom. So next we're going to approve the meeting minutes from May 19th and June 9th. Thank you to Yana who wrote those. Did everybody have a chance to look them over and approve them? Awesome. All right, so I'm going to call. All right, so do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes of May 19th?
I motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. All right, Yana?
Yes.
Ali?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Sophie?
Yes.
Let's see. Jenna?
Yes.
Madeline?
Yes.
And Marie?
Yeah.
Awesome. And do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes of June 9th?
I motion.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Oh, sorry. Yana?
Yes.
Ali?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Sophie?
Yes.
Jenna?
Yes.
Madeline?
Yes.
And Marie?
Yeah.
Awesome. So next, I was hoping to do a recreation department update, but I'm not sure if we have one since Nick is unable to join us. Catherine, have you heard anything from that with Mr. McGrath?
I know that they are hoping to move forward with that initiative this summer, taking some of the youth council recommendations as far as signage and improvement of the barrel placement. And then as far as the presentations go, I think those I don't know if they made any presentations to 8th graders, Madeline?
No.
I know it's been a kind of crazy week and a half, so what they can do is take those presentations that were designed and at some of the beginning of the year meetings with 7th and 8th graders next year, they can use those same presentations that you all did. So, the work is going to continue, but again, great job.
Awesome. Anything else on the recreation department? Questions, comments? Awesome. I think that's definitely something that should be continued into the next term because it was very successful.
Yeah, and one thing that will be really important is that when we look at our liaison roles is that we want to make sure we have someone in that recreation department liaison
Definitely.
position.
Yeah. And also, before I forget, can I have somebody volunteer to write the meeting minutes for this meeting? Because those will have to be approved at, I believe, the first meeting of the next term. Am I right on that, Mr. Chines? That those will have to be approved in the next term?
That's correct. You'd have them approved at whatever your next meeting is, whatever the composition of the group is at that point.
Okay, thank you. Do I have any volunteer to do that?
I can do. Oh, do you want?
Yeah.
I'll take them. I can
Okay,
do
thank you,
them.
Sophie. Awesome. All right, so next up, Ali, can you give us an update on the Communications Outreach Subcommittee?
All right, so we will be having a communications outreach subcommittee meeting later today, and that will be our last subcommittee meeting. And another thing is that we have started doing the senior posts. So Madeline just posted the first one today, and we'll be posting those in the coming days. We're going to do a staggered release of those. So that's all the updates I have.
Awesome, thank you. Anything for Ali or Madeline? Great. Any liaison updates? Nothing. I have one. So I'm the liaison to the town council, and Yana and I presented them with all of the initiatives we did. So the Snow Angels, the community cleanup, and the recreation department initiative, and also our focus on voter outreach and voter registration. And which was really exciting, they also approved our list of applicants to be members of the Youth Council for the next term. So something that we did talk about that I wanted to bring back to all of you was, so last year we had a pretty large number of applicants, and this year it was a bit smaller. So because of the large number of applicants, we increased the number of voting members, but now we're hoping to bring that down so we always meet a quorum. Am I right in that? Because since it was so big, we would have to have at least half to meet a quorum to be able to hold a public meeting. But since it's a bit smaller, we don't want to be like kind of scrambling in that regard. So I just wanted to bring that to you all, hear any questions or comments or concerns about that before telling the town council that we're either okay with it or not okay with it. So what are our thoughts on that?
So Lauren, let's just clarify so right now, town council appointed 11 voting members, okay? And they had raised the number of voting members to, I believe,
I think it was 17.
17.
Yeah.
So where do we feel like, and we also feel like we could use 2 additional middle school members next year. I think it was really valuable to have people like Madeline and Nick part of the team. Right now we only have 1. So right now you have 11. If you brought on 2 middle school members, it would be 13. What do you think would be a good number to kind of set the bar for number of voting members? Because you could bring it down a little bit from the 17.
And we had also talked about maybe making it so that everyone would be a voting member. So what are our thoughts on that for like a number? Because I think we could probably play it safe and say like 14 voting members. So then if another high schooler wanted to apply, or if we got a few more middle school applicants, and those people could be voting members as well. So what are our thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do like the idea of having 14 members. I think that that's a good like standing point for that. Yeah.
Cool.
I agree. I feel like the more voting members, the better. So then everyone would get the chance.
Awesome.
That'd be great.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, so to like clarify, those there would be like a certain number of people who would vote on things, or specific people, or both?
So I think it would probably be when, I'm not sure actually. I don't remember what we did.
Where we want to change it so everyone that's a member is a voting member.
Right.
So everyone would be able to vote on, say, what just happened, on approving minutes and things like that. Because before, because we had such an amount of interest in last year, we had to have some people as voting and some people as non-voting members. So is that correct, Lauren? So you're proposing to lower the number and say 14 or 15, and everyone's a voting member.
Correct. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
But
So
Lauren just wanted all of your input and what's a good number and if that worked.
Yeah. Because I just don't want to like blindly make the decision. Especially because I won't be here and a lot of you will be here. So I just wanted your input on that. So do we think, what do we think is better, 14 or 15?
Lauren, can I make just a brief observation just in terms of the number? I would, whatever number you guys decide to recommend, I would make it an odd number so that you don't run into a situation where you have a tie vote. You know, that's not going to happen in most cases. I mean, most of the votes that you guys are taking are to approve your meeting minutes and to adjourn. But in general, what we try to do is make sure that each committee in town does have an odd number of voting members so that, you know, we lessen the chance that there'd ever be a tie.
So Councillor Chines, my understanding was that does the chair always vote or doesn't vote on certain things?
So the chair has a vote.
Okay.
Whether or not the chair chooses to vote is up to the chair's discretion, and different committees handle it differently. But the chair does have a vote and would be one of those, again, if you had 13 or 15 members, would be one of those 13 or 15.
Okay. I'm just trying to think. So like for example, I choose to not vote unless it is a tie-breaking vote. So maybe we should do. It's hard because it's up to the chair. So, Catherine, what do you think we should?
I don't know.
Or
I mean, I
others?
think if he says the standard in town is to have
It's
odd
odd, yeah.
number, so I think it's up to you all if you want to have 13 or 15. I do want to say that having a larger board was a bit harder to manage with all the liaison positions and everything, so I think keeping it a little smaller might not be the worst thing.
Yeah. What do we think?
I just wanted to ask a question. Do you know how many members we had in the original youth council?
I'm not sure. I know this year we started with 20 22 and ended with about 20. I can't remember how many we had. I think it might have been, I don't know, Mr. Chines, do you recall that?
I want to say it was either 11 or 13.
Yeah.
It was either like 8 high school and 3 middle school, or maybe it was 9 high school and 4 middle school, but it was one of those two. And again, I apologize, I can't remember exactly which number. But it did expand pretty significantly for this year, both in terms of the voting members as well as the fact that we did kind of invite non-voting members to participate just to be as inclusive as possible.
Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So with that, I think that it might be a little bit more manageable and a little bit better to actually like do 13 members rather than 15, because like smaller the council, the more manageable it is.
Yeah. Do we agree, disagree?
I agree with
Yeah, I
that.
agree. Okay, awesome. So right now it seems like everybody's good with 13 voting members. Okay, awesome. Any other thoughts or questions or comments on that?
Now that's something that the town council controls, so
Yes.
you're just recommending. Do you need to vote on your recommendation?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is that we would vote to recommend to the town council that our membership would be made up of 13 voting members. Does that sound good? All right.
And Lauren, can I also suggest that you guys vote on whatever the split is between middle school and high school? So right now you're at 10 and 1.
Yes.
Is that right, Catherine?
Currently, yes, 10 and 1 of the current appointed members for the 22-23 year. So but again, if someone from the high school was really, it kind of comes back to that, would we want to leave a couple positions available, because I know a lot of people are doing their civics projects right now, or starting to, and they might say, I do know the town council was recommending that they maybe join the youth council to be able to implement their civics project. So I think opening up to 2 more middle schoolers, but then having a couple seats available just in case something comes up.
Right.
Can people still apply?
So we talked with the town council about leaving middle school applications still open in the fall, because we kind of struggled to fill the number of middle school seats that were set this past term. And so when we opened them up in the fall, we got a few more applicants to fill those seats. So we decided on that. And then did we also decide on that for the high school? Do I remember that correctly?
I think we said that middle school was our priority area, but I don't know what we decided, but we wanted to keep that open because the town councilors are responding to many of the civics projects, saying maybe you could join the youth council or get involved in the youth council. So I don't want to close that window. As long as that's okay, Mr. Chines.
Yeah, so right now you guys have 15 spots. It's 17 spots. Sorry, I misspoke on that. It's 11 high school and 6 middle school. So that's what we voted to expand the youth council to last year. So technically you have 1 open high school spot and 5 open middle school spots. So the question is, if you do reduce the number to 13, how would you want that balance to set? One way you could do it is say, we're going to reduce by 1 high school spot, meaning you wouldn't have any more openings for high school students, and reduce the the 5 middle school spots that are open down to 2. So you'd only be soliciting 2 middle schoolers, and you'd end up with a 10-3 balance in terms of high school versus middle school. Or if you did 1-to-1, you'd end up with an 11-to-2 balance. So it's just something to think about in terms of the composition and how much representation you want from middle school students. The other thing I'd point out is it might be a little intimidating for middle school student if there are only 2 middle schoolers on the youth council. So there's a little bit of kind of comfort in numbers. I think particularly for anyone coming in as a 7th grader that may be on the younger side. So just something to think about as you think about the dynamic. But right now, because the way the composition is set right now, there is 1 high school spot open and 5 middle school spots open. The idea was that we would resolicit applications for those spots in the fall. Again, if you choose to reduce the numbers, that'll affect how many spots we fill in the fall.
Great, thank you. So with that being said, what are we thinking?
I think it's a good idea to leave more middle school spots open, partly because I know that even though Charlotte dropped off the flyers, I never saw any of them around, and I was never talked to about it by any teachers. So I could talk to my teacher and be like, hey, like at the beginning of next school year, like please mention this to your students and like try and make it actually talked about, because I never heard anything about
That's
it.
good to know, Madeline, because I emailed every single social studies teacher, and I attached the application in the flyer. But the fact that, did anyone hear about it in their social studies class?
My history teacher runs student council, so he put that on the student council page. But the specific history classes, I don't think they were spoken to.
Okay.
They did an announcement over the loudspeaker, but yeah, I don't know if specific, like, just teachers talk to their classes or not.
Same
Okay.
with us, like we had the announcement, but like most kids don't listen to the announcements at all, so.
Oh, yeah, I've been there at the announcement time. I'm surprised you actually heard the announcements. So that's a really good point, that there are probably students out there that had no idea that this opportunity existed.
I was telling a friend of mine about it today, because I said that I had this meeting, and she was like, what's the youth council? I was like, yeah, like that.
I know, yeah, and part of me thinks maybe we wanted to use alumni, but, maybe we figure out a way for, someone to go around and talk to the
I feel like
student.
definitely like face-to-face, like either teacher to student or some other way is the best way, because like the way that I found out about the youth council back when I was in 7th grade was from my social studies teacher. So I think that that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, and that's too bad that didn't work out this year. So maybe we can invite Mr. Pavey, who's the social studies, to a youth council meeting, and then he can take it to the next step.
Great. So that's really great feedback for us to think about, like, for the summer and for the fall when we kind of start to reopen applications. So I really want to solidify what we're thinking for numbers. So what do we think about that? So Madeline thinks to keep some more seats open for the middle school. So if we have a total of 11 applicants right now, and we have 17 voting member seats as of now, we can decrease the number of voting member seats and then still keep open applications to fill. So I think we should decide on a number of voting member seats and then figure out the breakdown between high school and middle school. Does that sound like a good plan? So what do we think for voting member seats for a number?
So based on what Catherine said about the civic action projects and youth council, I think that it also might be good to have a couple more high school seats open, along with the new middle school seats. So I think that maybe 15 would be a better option now. Like either like 11 to 4 for middle school, high school, or 12 to 3.
Thank you.
I have to second that. I think it's going to be good to have more middle schools, schoolers to have a vote too, because Madeline and Nick were huge this year. Like, they took on so many roles, and I feel like the more middle schools we have for this next term would be good too.
Great. Anything else?
I like the 11 to 4 idea too.
Okay. Let me just write this
Okay,
down.
so there will be one high school spot open and 3 middle school spots open. So we'll have to understand that with recruiting.
Yes.
And and then that's the next question. Once town council approves that new slate, do we recruit in the summer or just wait till the beginning of the school year? Because I'm thinking of, like, Marie had to start as the only new middle school youth counselor. So she missed the orientation. I think it was a little hard, Marie, starting as the only middle schooler. Yeah, I was thinking about that. And we didn't have in-person meetings then. So.
Right, exactly. So what do we think for recruitment? Do we want to start in the summer? Maybe start with some social media outreach. I'm not sure if the middle school, I know Yana and I did it. They did like an 8th grade leadership summit. So maybe it's something that could be talked about there if that is
was
happening.
Mainly with 8th graders helping 5th graders.
Gotcha.
Those 2 days. So if there was something where 8th graders and 7th graders were more together, then I think the first day was just 8th grade.
Gotcha.
That would make
the
sense.
youth action team runs that orientation. We could certainly promote it to get some 8th graders at the youth leadership summit. So
Great. Awesome. All right. Anything else before we take the vote for the numbers? And before we do, I'll clarify. So right now, we are voting to approve 15 total voting members, and that would be 11 high school voting members and 4 middle school voting members, which leaves open 1 high school seat and 2 middle school seats. Does that math add up?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I think it's 3 middle school seats, sorry.
3 middle school seats?
yeah, 3
Yeah,
middle
thank
school
you.
seats are open.
It's summer. I have summer brain right now. So, all right. So just to clarify, 15 total, 11 high school seats, 4 middle school seats. That leaves open 1 high school seat and 3 middle school seats.
Yeah. Okay. That
Fantastic.
sounds good.
Okay. Is everybody clear before we take a vote? All right. So do I have a motion to recommend to the town council that our membership be changed to 15 total voting seats. Of that 15, 11 would be high schoolers, 4 would be middle schoolers, and then that leaves open 1 high school seat and 3 middle school seats.
I motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to call the roll. Yana,
Yes.
Ollie,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Sophie,
Yes.
Jenna,
Yes.
Madeline,
Yes.
and Marie.
Yes.
Great. So that passes unanimously, and we will work on getting that recommendation to the town council. Great. Great. Any other liaison updates? Anything? I know it's hard because our term is kind of wrapping up. So.
Right. Well, and on the subject of liaisons, has anyone come across any positions that they think would be a good liaison opportunity? I know we were hearing the town council discussion that said maybe have a liaison to the elementary schools. Or I remember Thomas had a really good experience with the town clerk's office around, so I was like, oh, that might be a good liaison opportunity. So does anyone have any liaison position ideas? Or ones that maybe didn't work out so much, so we would have to re-explore that?
I like the idea of the elementary one. I remember when me and Lauren were there, they had like, what was it called? The young program that we were in. Or like, no. I don't know. They have a student-run program there, and if we were able to have a liaison to that program, if they still have it, there was like I don't know. I forget what it was called. I'm blanking on it, but I was part of that, and they just do all these changes for the school. And
Was it peer leaders?
It was something.
We did that in middle school.
That's a group in middle school, and then it was like that. Some elementary schools might have that.
Yeah, I think.
And if we have a liaison to that, that might be kind of cool. And I feel like they would like to connect with the youth council as well, because I definitely think they look up to us. So.
And it's a great way to grow future youth council members.
Exactly.
So they start hearing about it, so it's not the first time your friends never heard about the youth council, so that start to be more of a presence in the school.
Yeah. I really like the idea of the clerk's office because I feel like especially around election time, like there's always stuff that's happening and changing there. So I think that would be a good liaison position.
And they could give us some really interesting trivia things, like how many people register their dogs in the town,
Yeah.
and all sorts of stuff that goes through the clerk's office and you have no idea.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to say I also think that it's important that we continue our cooperation with other town boards, like such as like Yana has done really important work with the HRC, and Yana will be leaving. So I think that it's really important that we get another liaison on the HRC after Yana leaves. So I think that that's really important.
Yeah, I second that. That slot will be open, and I highly recommend it. It was the best. So definitely take that if anyone's interested.
Yeah, I think we have one incoming member that's really interested in that, which
That's
would be
good.
exciting. Yeah. All right. Anything else on liaison positions? And definitely think if you are going to be on the youth council, like if you want to change, if you want to stay, definitely think about that, as well as leadership positions on the youth council. So right now, chair and vice chair positions will be open. So it is quite a commitment, but it's very doable. So definitely think about if you'd like to be involved in those.
When will we vote on that?
So that will be, I think what we did this year is it was a little different because I ran the meeting because I was vice chair. So I think I would run the first meeting of the term. And that's when that would be voted on, and then the chair would take over.
So, but you won't be on the youth council.
Right.
So
I'm not
is
sure
she
how that
allowed to come
works.
back and run the first meeting, Mr. Shines?
So technically, no. So you may want to think about just, whether you guys vote on sort of a temporary chair, someone who's continuing just for that meeting to be able to at least kind of call the meeting to order and call the election for a new chair. And then obviously when you elect the chair for the year, they can kind of take over the rest of the meeting. But technically it should be someone who's kind of continuing on beyond June 30th.
Okay.
Unless
So
you
Yeah,
meet,
that makes a lot of
I was going
sense.
to say, you don't want to meet until after the new appointed members are kind of officially on, because you want to give them a chance to vote for their officers.
Yeah, and so and we're putting out information for the new members to go get sworn in,
Yes.
and we'll have an in-person orientation again with pizza and to get to know each other and everything. So
Great.
we'll do that after. Thank you. So I know Juliana, you have to
Yes.
pop out for.
So is that something that we think we would want to do during orientation or at this meeting, to elect kind of just a temporary chair to run that meeting and that election for the first meeting of the term? What do we think?
Is orientation before the first meeting next month, or is that in the fall?
So we're planning on orientation in July, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think that was before the first meeting.
I think we can nominate someone during that meeting. I
Okay.
think it'd be fine. I'll put together the agenda and
Yeah.
post it and everything like
Awesome.
that. So I'm not too worried about that.
Okay, great.
Great.
Anything else on that? So plan to elect a temporary chair at the orientation. That's what we've come to. Okay, great. All right. Any other liaison updates? All right. So I just kind of want to recap all of the amazing stuff that we've done. So I mentioned this earlier. We helped a lot of people with the Snow Angels. I wish Juliana was still here because she was a huge part in that. We got such great feedback, and it was honestly a great experience for me at least. So I'm really hoping that that's something that continues. We cleaned up our community at the Veterans Day cleanup, which was great. And we were able to get that donation to send to the Wakefield Veterans Board. And then we did the recreation department, which was a great experience running the focus group, hearing that, firsthand feedback. And I think that that's a really tangible change that we'll be able to make as a group. And our voter outreach as well. I know I saw a lot of our friends when we were voting, and it seemed like that there was a pretty great turnout for young voters, first-time voters at this election. So I think we definitely had a big part in that. So yeah, any closing thoughts before we adjourn the meeting?
No, I just thought you did a wonderful job, and Yana backing up, and Ollie running the communications committee. And I think kind of as we think about next year, and we're looking at the different boards that operate in town, a lot of what we can do is not just programs, but looking at policies that impact young people, and are there policies that need to be changed or adapted. So it might be, you start to get some, I know with the some of the civic projects, people were looking at how can we change this policy, or is there a program out there that it's at the statewide level that we could implement here in Wakefield. So that's what I think we can charge people with going into the summer, and starting to think about, because we had an excellent 2 years, and we'll continue to grow and expand this youth council. And so when you guys come back next year in the summertime, and maybe work in town hall like we have a previous youth council member, you'll see, kind of see where it's grown.
Yeah. Any other thoughts? I just want to say thank you to everybody. So I was on the original youth council, and I don't think I quite knew what I was getting myself into, but it was just such an amazing experience. And I really wish I could continue beyond the 2 years that I was able to do it. So thank you all for being such awesome members. You're all so easy to work with. It was really good. So I'm really, really honored that I got to share these changes with all of you.
I also want to
Lauren,
say,
oh, go ahead.
my bad. I just wanted to say thank you. These past few years have been amazing. I've learned so much, and I cannot wait to see what you all do next.
Yeah. Mr. Tynes, were you going to say something?
Sorry, I was just going to add my thank you to everyone. I mean, this is such an extraordinary group, and I said to Lauren and Yana when they were at the town council meeting just how proud I am to be able to join you for the meetings as the town council's liaison. But I get so much out of the work that you do. I'm inspired by the commitment that you all have to the community, and the dedication you've had in doing things like the Snow Angels programs and the community cleanup. The insights that you have when you talk about the issues that are affecting young people here in Wakefield has been really helpful. So just thank you for everything you do, and I'm excited to continue collaborating with those of you that are continuing on, and just congratulations to our graduating seniors and everyone else that's moving on to just amazing things over the next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you for always coming to our meetings. We really appreciate that. You always have awesome input, so thank you.
Oh, thank you. These are my favorite meetings to attend. So.
All right. Anything else? All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn our meeting?
A motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. All right. Yana?
Yes.
Ollie?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Sophie?
Yes.
Jenna?
Yes.
Madeline?
Yes.
And Marie? I don't think Marie's on the Zoom
Oh, she had to
anymore.
jump off. She had another commitment.
No worries. All right. So our meeting is adjourned, and I will see you all at orientation. Oh.
All right, good job.
Awesome.
And thank you to everyone cycling off. I know we have Jenna and Sophie. I think that's it for cycling off that's here today. But thank you for your hard work. And we're going to have, if you have a moment to stay, we're going to have a quick, just a quick social. I want to pick your brains on a few